Hello everyone, my name is Eli Zenhari and I'm an MFA candidate in the Interactive Design Media program. In this video walkthrough, I would like to introduce the visual component for my final MFA Interactive Design thesis project, which is a customized interactive application for hybrid beginning photography students. I would first like to argue that the conventional simulators and online instructional methods fall short in delivering higher order learning. As my proposed solution, I would suggest that by utilizing direct manipulation with real-time feedback, a learner can better synthesize cause and effect relationships and thus bridge the gap between abstract concepts and the theory behind those concepts. I also would like to take a moment here to mention that this is a very rough presentation of my prototype application, and I intend to customize it much further for the final thesis project. Based on testing the most popular simulators online in my hybrid photography classes, it was unanimously concluded that the interface for these applications were very confusing for a beginning photography student. For example, Camera Sim is the most popular visual application online to learn basic photography techniques. As the visual component for this interface is very slick and well laid out, however, this application does not function very slick at all, and in fact, it provides too many options that could cause much confusion for a beginner learner. In addition to that, it also doesn't provide immediate visual feedback as to how each changes in each setting can affect the overall image. For example, if I change these settings, these numbers update, but there is no update on the actual picture. So as I'm moving these settings around, I'm just learning about these functions, I really have no idea what I'm doing. And the only button here that I can click on to see a preview is right here, Snap Photo. And I take a picture, and this is the feedback I get, which is a sad face and a string of numbers that basically it indicates the selections that I had made that resulted in this image. However, as a beginner learner, I really have no idea what I just did. So when I go back here, again, I can just move these around and sort of hope for the best. And again, I would get a different result based on this type of interaction, which does not provide an immediate result or as I'm manipulating these dials. In addition to this, the application also includes really advanced settings such as aperture priority and shutter speed priority, which could be very confusing for a beginner learner who may not even have heard of what an aperture is or what a shutter speed setting is, let alone an aperture priority and a shutter speed priority. Without showing the learner how a change, for example, in the aperture setting can affect the image immediately and instantly, these simulators are really not effective teaching tools. And there's also another website that is very popular. And again, this website provides massive amount of information on all kinds of topics on photography, which could be very intimidating and very confusing for a beginner learner who's just trying to gain some basic understanding of how to use a camera so they could capture their vision more effectively. What makes my proposed solution a much more powerful application than the available online tools is that it deconstructs the major camera controllers into easily digestible parts so that the learner can better understand and connect the abstract photography concepts with the theory behind those concepts. So, for example, in this very rough prototype, we have 4 major sections, and I also have made some tooltips where the beginner learner can just hover over and realize what setting they're manipulating. So we have shutter speed setting, film speed setting, exposure compensation setting, and aperture setting. So in the beginning lessons, the learner can only manipulate one setting at a time, while all the other settings are locked in the indicated gray color. So for example, in this particular the preview page, I only can manipulate the aperture setting, and the shutter speed is locked to 250, the film speed is locked to 250, and the exposure meter is locked to normal. I also have a preview window. I have my original image on the left, and I also have a manipulated image window on the right. So as the learner, through direct manipulation with the actual camera aperture settings, the learner can better understand how this aperture opening can affect the amount of light entering the camera, and also can better understand the concept of depth of field in relation to this opening. So as we go to a higher number, also we see the updated aperture setting window here, and we also can see that the other settings are locked in because of the color gray, which is the locked indicator color. As the lessons advance, the complexity of the application also advances to include complete interaction between all the camera settings that provide immediate visual feedback for the learner. By empowering the learner to actively participate in the process of discovery through self-directed learning, through manipulating the different settings, the learner has the opportunity to fully understand the major camera functionalities so that they could more effectively visualize, conceptualize, and materialize their unique ideas and vision in the context of what they're learning and why they're learning it. For this rough prototype, I've only programmed the aperture setting for the demonstration purpose. But for a full description and in-depth explanation of all the other settings, such as the shutter speed and the film speed, please reference the PDF documentation file on the prototype page on my MFA website, thesis website. I would like to end this presentation by saying that technology cannot create innovative ideas, but by utilizing technology effectively and intuitively, we can better manifest our personal vision and create opportunities for meaningful communication and to hopefully make a difference for the better in the world. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to your feedbacks.